Welcome back to the Awfully Soft Dad Beard podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lane. Today we have a special guest joining us. He's the creative force behind the YouTube channel Papa Joel's English, where he shares his passion for language and education in a unique and engaging way. With years of experience teaching English in China and a genuine love for helping others learn, Joel Dewald has built a community of nearly 1.3 million subscribers and over 881 million views from around the world, making language learning accessible and fun for everybody. Thank you for joining me today, Joel. Welcome to the podcast. I'm absolutely honored to have you. And I have to say, my son is a huge fan.
Well, that's always good to hear because it's kind of hard for me to hear from fans, actually. The way that
Really? Why is that?
the way that YouTube is set up, kids channels don't have comments. And you usually interact on the platform where you meet the creator. So if it's your Instagram influencer, you interact on Instagram. If it's YouTube, you interact on YouTube. So I have 1 million followers on YouTube. I have 171 followers on social media.
It's a paradox.
Yeah. So I just don't hear from people. And also they're 3, so it makes
Yeah,
it hard to
that's true.
type.
Yeah, that's exactly the age of my son, and he loves Papa Joel. I don't know how he stumbled upon it, but um, the music I think is what caught him.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you come up with those songs?
Um, it's a process. There's a creative process. I've always been a songwriter. So when I was younger, it was, love songs to woo women. And then when I got a wife, I was love songs for my wife. And then after 8 years of working in it was early childhood education in China. And I had listened to children's music like constantly for 8 years. So as a musician, like I think what goes in just comes out. So children's music just started coming out. And that's not exactly how it happened, but I just listen to a lot. Like I probably watch kids YouTube every day and I see what topics are trending. And I'm like, can I make something on that topic? And then I don't know, as a musician, I can just give myself an assignment. Go write a song about rainbow ghosts. And then I'll just go do it.
Yeah, speaking of Rainbow Ghost, that's your most popular video right now.
Yeah. How much it
43
really
million
about?
views.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into this? What created Papa Joel's English in the form it is now?
That was a circuitous road. Um, I was in China teaching English after college, and I met my wife, and she was teaching young kids, and I'd never considered teaching young kids, but she was really good at it. And so she was so good at it, she quit her job, her day job doing it, and she started her own business. And so I was helping her, and we that became my job. Like, we started a what's called an English language training school in China, and we would teach after school classes to kids mostly ages like 2 to 8. And so that was where I got into early childhood education. Like I ended up getting a master's degree in like teaching ESL for this age group, and doing it for about 8 years as this like after school program. So that was my like I had an education background. I studied education in college, and that I sort of fell into it because there was a huge market for kids. And every day I'd be, you know, singing bingo to them and thumpkin, and eventually I wanted to I I, I thought I was going to grow an ESL business. That's what I thought I was doing. Like I need to have my own songs. And I couldn't license anything because I wasn't like business savvy at all. Like, well, I guess I just have to write them. I don't think I can write very good children's music, but I think I have to. And so I started writing songs to use in my classroom. And I was slapping every video that I made for teaching English up on YouTube. And so if you go to my early videos, you'll see these weird ones that don't look at all like what I make now, that are about teaching colors and fruit and vegetable names. But the songs really seemed to take off. I mean, instead of getting 30 views, they got 2,000 views. That's what takeoff means in my at that time. And so I kind of got addicted to doing YouTube. Like I was everything I was putting on YouTube, I was then turning around and making lesson plans with it in my classroom for about a year. And I made like this whole 300 unit course out of these videos. And you know what happened? There came a change in my YouTube channel because English training schools got shut down by the Chinese government. My business got shut down like overnight. They decided everyone's spending too much money on English training. So we're just going to shut down the businesses so people won't spend money at them. So I lost my job. Um, so there goes the dream of building a training school empire. You know, government policy wiped that out overnight. Um, so I had sort of a like maybe an 8,000 subscriber YouTube channel, and we like tutored privately, sort of underground for a couple of years, while I just thought like what would be the most engaging thing for a YouTube audience. And so that's how I got into what I do now, because the most engaging thing for a YouTube audience was stories. I was just telling stories. That's the circuitous route to it.
Yeah, that's a winding road. So what would you say your day job is now?
YouTube.
YouTube?
I'm a full-time children's YouTuber.
How's it working out?
It's working out great. This is the best job I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, like um I plan like I put out 2 animated videos a week.
Wow.
It's enough to keep you busy. If I had a
Yeah,
day job, I would put out maybe 2 a month.
right. What man, that's got to be a pretty tight schedule to get two of those out a week. How, how long does it take to do a video?
A lot of it's planning. It's actually a lot of it's planning and post-production. The actual acting part is very short. So I do my YouTube research. I go on, I see what's trending, what connects with my viewers, which is basically spooky stuff, adventure stuff. And I have like a list of topics for the next 2 months planned out. And I take a topic, I write a script that I know I can do just around my house or neighborhood, and then we take that into set a date for my cameraman to come, and we film for maybe an hour and a half. Like if my kids are there, it might take an hour and a half, 2 hours, because they'll like film for 10 minutes and eat a snack, and then film for 10 minutes and eat a snack. But that part's really the least time consuming part, actually, and the most fun. And then I have maybe 100 video clips from that, and I have to go sort them and send them to an editor who's in China now. And post production maybe takes a week per video, so I have to have them these filmed and stacked up, and then not some of them are really easy because they're on a green screen, and paradoxically, that's really easy to film because it's like it's me in front of a camera, just me, and it takes like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but then it takes the editor like a week.
So do you have like you pay to have it edited?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Wow. Um, is it a pretty good return on investment in terms of having, paying somebody to edit it and paying a cameraman?
Yes, it's a pretty good return on investment, but not initially. I would say most videos are break even. I spend as much as they make in their first month, but they're out there forever. So after they've paid themselves off, they just keep earning. So eventually there's enough left to live on.
That's good. Yeah. So you mentioned your kids are involved. What's it like getting them involved? Are they do they help you plan and come up with ideas, or are they just sort of like passive participants in the video making process?
Oh, they're very active. My older son comes up with a lot of ideas. He's like, Dad, we need to make a video about saving the earth. And then, like, we're doing dinosaurs, and like, Dad, I'm going to do a pterodactyl voice. And he goes, you go, okay, son, do that. And then, obviously, my my youngest, he does, you can't tell him to do anything. He does what he does. So it's just us interacting and then later figuring out what the story was.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are having a lot of fun, and looks like a lot of times you have to kind of like point him towards the camera, and
Yeah. Or vice
um,
versa.
does your wife like to get involved? I noticed I think she has like an animated character.
Yeah. So at first, you know, she was the CEO of the China business. That was very time consuming for her. So the time she had was like, I'd say, honey, record your voice, say these lines. So that was very easy for her. And we just kind of like rolled with that. And then she's come into some live action stuff because I thought live action stuff performs better. And then since we're here, we're not in that like lifestyle anymore where she has to run a business 9 to 10 hours a day. So we've been working on it, but like acting was always my thing, wasn't her thing. She's like, I don't know if I can do this, honey. I'm like, no, you're great. And she's kind of now she wants to start her own YouTube channel. Now she's into it. She's super into it.
No, that's good. Um, so is she part of the business part of it, or is she doing something else as well?
Um, she was just always my business mentor.
Okay.
I was not a business minded person. I just married an entrepreneur, and then I started thinking, what can I do as a business? Um, so like we talk about everything related to the business, hiring the cameraman, working with editors, just planning. She's very involved in that.
Well, it's kind of like a day in the life of the Dewald family as it relates to your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's so good. I love my life. We wake up at like 7 a.m. and have breakfast. If I'm making breakfast, it's cereal. If my wife's making breakfast, she's making like full on Chinese steamed dumplings and doja soy like homemade soy milk and like all sorts of delectable things. And then uh and the kids, our oldest goes to school. He loves riding school bus. Our youngest doesn't, so he stays home with mom. And I go up to my office and lock the door and try and get like office work done, like writing and researching and that kind of stuff. And we eat lunch together, and then I go back to my office, and maybe like in the afternoons is generally when we'll film. Like we'll probably film 1 or 2 days a week with the kids, like set an afternoon after school or a Saturday morning, and that'll be a filming day. And those are kind of my most fun days. Um, a lot of my days like look like a person working from home. You know, go to my
Yeah.
office, work on my computer, do the thing.
Yeah. Try to take a break and stand up every 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, how do you balance the responsibilities of having a successful YouTube channel, but also being a dad and a husband all sort of simultaneously?
Well, I have to force myself to close my computer at 5 o'clock because you know, you're out. Maybe a lot of people who work from home have this experience. Like you could just keep working. I could get another thing done. So forcing myself to close the computer, go downstairs, take the kids to the park, is important. Um, and I wouldn't say my job is not super demanding, like not any more than any other 40, 50 hour week job is. So I just have to keep it in its place. Like, I'm really big on like wanting to develop and grow, but you can't spend all your time reading your business books or doing your things.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of growing, I mean, what's your vision for Papa Joel's English the next year, 5 years?
I want to hear more from my fans. I want to grow an Instagram and
Okay.
like hear from parents, hear what they love, hear what they hate. Like that's really helpful. Like if even when people like kind of say mean things, at least I'm getting feedback.
Yeah.
That's good. And then I can implement like, oh, you don't like you don't like the poop family videos. Okay.
Yeah.
I stopped those.
Yeah. There's a whole thread on Reddit about that.
Oh, don't even mention that. But I
Okay.
do I do listen to those people because um sometimes they tell me useful things. Um so like that's where I want to go. Like more connections. I want to meet my fans in person, like do maybe a small concert or meetups. I just gotta like find a way to let them know. So growth is like figuring out some sort of Instagram or Facebook thing where I connect with parents. That's critical.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, how do you spin a YouTube video off or a YouTube channel off into a social media platform? Do you have,
That's the $1 million question,
uh,
and I don't know yet. I mean, other people have done it. Blippi does a very good job of it. I have some other heroes like a guy named Danny Go does this very, very well.
Mhm.
Um, and then he just introduces the new videos on Instagram and then does something in like the Danny Go world. I see a lot of kids creators kind of do this. Like they have their own little fantasy world, but it's for the parents version. So hopefully I can figure that out.
So you already answered this question a little bit, but like who, if you could, dream of a level, you're talking Blippy and Danny Go, right? Would you want to collaborate with them at some point?
Oh yeah. Definitely want to collaborate with my heroes. Um, got to make sense. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
these guys live all over the country. It's kind of a uh-oh. Okay, fix that.
No
Okay.
problem. Actually, it's we're gonna wrap up here. I want to respect your time. I know you're busy.
Okay.
Let me ask you just the last couple questions. Um, what's the most important piece of advice you've ever received as a father?
I mean, I would say it's from God. Um, Fathers, do not exasperate your children, but bring them up in the wisdom and instruction of the Lord. Because it's, like I'm a Christian and I think like God knows what our weaknesses are. And so most fathers' weakness is to exasperate your children. I don't know, get frustrated with your kids and forget that they're just little kids. Um, so it's just like the advice to be patient and to know like if your kids are exasperated, I'm doing something wrong. And I got to figure this out and like, figure out a way to like discipline my kids and but have like happy kids. Eh, so I think that's really important. I've to be just to be understanding of my kids and under like don't exasperate them.
Yeah. Is that the same piece of advice you would share to anybody else?
Oh, definitely. Like know your kids, spend lots of time with your kids. Like the inverse of that is like filling up your kid's love tank. Like an exasperated kid is a kid who like doesn't feel listened to, who feels like he's not got enough attention. And so like the inverse of it is like I spend lots of time like reading to my kids, lots of time going to the park with my kids and talking to my kids about anything, listening to my son tell me about the ask the millionth question about that Disney movie he just watched. And it's I when they feel like their love tank is filled up, then like going to timeout doesn't cause a freak out. And they're like, okay, I shouldn't have taken the toy. I'll go to timeout.
Yeah, that's great advice. What advice do you wish you would have gotten sooner?
Um, More like marriage advice. It's also Christian advice. Not everybody who hears this is going to agree with this, but like the man's responsible in the home for everything. Like I wish I would have known I was responsible for our business. Like even though my wife was the CEO, but I was responsible for it, and like she was way stressed out running a business. And what she needed was me to like really take responsibility and go learn everything and like fix the problems. And when I did that, like my marriage got way better. Like suddenly I was way more involved in learning. I mean, I had to go learn more Chinese and all sorts of stuff that I thought was impossible for me to do. But just the fact that like um, I was taking the responsibility for something that I didn't know I was responsible for, which was important. And I think a lot of things like the kids' education or discipline at home or the problems at home, like the dishes are messy. Actually, like oh, dad like has a major role in this. Like we're gonna set up a routine where we all take our dishes to the sink and wash them off and stick them in the dishwasher. That's dad's job. And like when dad does that, it's good. And then mom is super happy. Mom is happy.
Happy wife, happy life. As
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, awesome. Is there anything else that you think you want to talk about? Any advice, any commentary, anything else?
Um, I talked a lot about YouTube and that kind of stuff, but uh, I just think that spending time with your kids is really important. That's what I think. Um, I basically have a similar life to other people, except it's a lot of it's documented, so it looks probably different, like maybe celebrity or something, but I don't know. I think a lot of Americans. One thing I think about a lot is a lot of Americans don't understand like teaching your kids like a skill, like a business skill, like a work skill. Like if dad can if dad's an engineer, teach kids to be an engineer. If dad's a photographer, teach kids to do photography. If dad's a musician, teach kids to be a musician. I think that's really good, like handing on your skills to your kids. So like when I see a family doing YouTube, I'm like, oh, they're spending time with their kids and they're teaching them like to be an actor. Um, I don't know. Some of the pushback I get from my channel is like he exploits his kids for money. And I look at that and go, no, no, you don't understand. Like I'm teaching my kids how to make a video. And I kind of wish Americans had more of that because like we send our kids off to public school to get an education and off to college to learn to do a job. But I think it's dad's job to teach the kids to do something like fix a car or make a spreadsheet or um so I push back against that pushback like no 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 teach your kids to do something and if it's like if they can make money doing it that's even better.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
And also to teach your kids to be self-sufficient, right? I mean, if you're teaching them the skills to do what they want to do, then that's their road to success.
Yeah, or it's something they can do. Like basically your talent can become your passion. You get good at something, then you become passionate about it because you're good at it. Who is passionate when you're 11 years old about I don't know, stock market investing or
Not
I don't
many.
know, maybe some at 12-year-olds are passionate about astrophysics, but if you get good at it, then you want to tell people and you want to share it with the world and do something great with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that can start with a father training you to be good at something.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and it's kind of a universal truth, right?
Yeah.
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 So speaking of fathers, I always ask, do you have a favorite dad joke?
Oh, I saw that question when you sent it to me, and that's the hardest question because I don't know any dad jokes, but I like husband and wife jokes. So my favorite one is like in marriage counseling, women are often guilty of being upset at their husbands for not hearing what they were just thinking, and men are often guilty of not hearing what was said plainly to them repeatedly out loud. That might upset some people, but it seems to be true.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Joel, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And yeah, who would have thought that I was going to be able to reach a YouTube star on LinkedIn? That's
Oh, it's so easy.
interesting.
Just
Yeah,
reach other we're not such stars.
right,
We're
right.
just regular guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day. And
You
my
too.
son and I will continue watching Papa Joel's English.
Wonderful. So
Yeah,
happy to hear it. Okay.
yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.